Well, here we are. This is it. With all 4 members of the Elite Four defeated, it's time to activate this statue and head on towards the champion. It's been a long road. Can we take down the champion without any experience? Let's find out. When we cannot go back. So we arrive in a very, very large, expansive canyon, which is a lot larger than it needs to be, but certainly has the epic final confrontation feel. Up those stairs are our final challenge. The champion awaits. Let's go. And enjoy an absolutely amazing camera angle. Well, not quite yet, but one of those pillars is broken. Interesting. Hey, there's 4 pillars. 4 Elite Four. One of them was a total nightmare. Yes, that's a metaphor. Oh, now there's 5 pillars and 2 of them are broken. Actually, no, 6 pillars and 2 of them are broken. Okay, so that... forget that analogy. Anyway, the Palace of the Champion. Are we ready to enter? Yep, certainly does have an epic feel to it. Pretty amazing. Probably the most epic Pokemon League ever, so let's enter. We all know who the champion is, so we should have a good idea of what's coming. And yeah, this is a pretty amazing, epic-looking room. Let's approach and finally have our final showdown with... oh, crap. Oh, no. No. No! It seems that N has gone through the Elite Four before us, and even worse, he did it by being an uber noob! No! He shall pay for this outrage! And yes, apparently Alder lost his original starting Pokemon. What Pokemon was that? I think I'll save talking about that till the post-game. But anyway... the only reason you outmatch the champion is because you're a stupid Uber abuser. Seriously, try doing that without Zekrom. Heck, try doing that without experience, like I am. But... N1, Alder has been defeated. And we have the Light Stone, so this... okay. Okay. That doesn't sound good. Apologies for the slight flickering during this cutscene. My emulator couldn't quite handle all the awesomeness here. Oh, that's bad. Very bad. That's definitely not good. So apparently, Team Plasma had this ominous castle of evilness just, there this whole time. Somehow. And no one noticed. Apparently. Yeah. That's pretty much all there is to say. And of course, you know, making a grand gesture of, oh, I'm so much better than the Pokemon League because my castle is so much taller. And now, excessive stairs! Seriously, did you really need that many ramps? And that lightning? Seriously. You're trying to convince the world you're not evil, but you're not doing a good job of it. And I'd just like to point out for a second now that we currently stand in the presence of the single most amazing track in the entire game. Unfortunately, this music only lasts for this one area, and you never hear it again. Yeah. Why are all good songs like that? But anyway, and hey, Cherry, you're late. Did you somehow beat the Elite Four as well? Why is it that everyone... Yeah, apparently he did. And yeah, it wasn't easy for me either. Caitlin! Seriously, Caitlin has got to be secretly in league with Team Plasma or something. And still I beat you every time, despite not even having experience. Yes, so, yep, N's convictions are strong, and Alder is basically saying everything's up to us, as CD's a protagonist job, obviously. And I'll just take this time to bask in this absolutely amazing music. Seriously, talking over this feels like murdering someone. It really does, and I will endeavour not to as much as possible. But anyway, this room would have been so amazing for a champion battle if it had survived. Sadly. But yeah, apparently Alda's got all depressed, and makes sense, really. Kind of interesting how they kind of play off the whole Alda was a retired master, and this is just showing basically that no matter how awesome an old master may be, if you've retired for that many years, you're kind of going to lose your touch, and that's pretty much what happened. Of course, N was being a complete and total uber noob. We'll have to do something about that. So, yeah, this music. This music is just the most amazing music ever. And now part of me actually thought the music would end once we actually exited out here, so I actually stayed here for a very, 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 very long time. And again, I really don't want to kill this music, but I'll just take this time to explain. Yes, of course, I knew this plot twist was coming. I obviously knew about it. I kind of had heard about it before I played the game for the very first time, but I didn't quite know the magnitude of it until here, and believe me, experiencing this for the first time is amazing. I know X and Y, you might be, kind of still reeling from this and thinking, oh, X and Y didn't do anything this spectacular. The thing is, this is the kind of plot twist in a series you can really only get away with once. Because, to be honest, if they did a, wow, you don't get to fight the champion, instead you have the final villainous team plot right after the Pokemon League, if they did that again, people wouldn't be thinking, wow, what an awesome twist. They'd be thinking, oh, they're just ripping off Black and White again. I find it's a similar case with, to go off on a weird tangent, here I am tangenting on the music I said I wouldn't talk over, but believe me, I will give you ample time to enjoy this music, just wait one moment. Anyway, in Ace Attorney, the second game, Justice for All, the twist in the final case of that game. Now, for those of you who don't know that, I won't spoil what that twist is, but suffice to say it is very similar to this. A twist that completely turns all the established conventions of the series on their head. Now, at the time, it was absolutely incredible, and still, it is the vast majority of people's favourite case in the entire series. It's just that amazing, and I highly recommend that you check it out. It is incredible, seriously. But here's the thing, you can really only get away with that kind of thing once. If they were ever to pull a twist like that again, they would, again, like this, they wouldn't be say, wow, this is awesome. They'd say, you're ripping off 2-4 here. And that, I feel, is why X and Y did not pull something like this. And why I feel that that is okay, because not every game has to revolutionize the series conventions. In fact, once you've revolutionized the series conventions like this, you can't do it again. It's a one-time thing. So, yeah, and that's pretty much all I wanted to say. But anyway, my plans for going into this, well, you'll see in a bit. Here comes the end game of Black and White. If you have not experienced this before, I'd recommend you go do it yourself now. Otherwise, you are in for a treat. Believe me, this is my favourite endgame out of any Pokemon game by far, and for very obvious reasons. So, I guess I'll let this music loop maybe one more time, and then we shall climb the stairs to N's castle. And I've got a bit of an idea plan for this. I thought we'd take this time to honour the journey. How we got here, the challenges we've faced, everything that led up to this moment. Okay, I'll let you enjoy this music, and then we're going in. if I haven't said it enough, this music, seriously, there is nothing that gets me more psyched for the final confrontation than hearing this. Oh, seriously. It's just downright moving, this music. I love it so much. Anyway, we're about to enter. The final battle begins right here, right now. Trainers and Pokemon everywhere, let's go. And in our path is... Yep, these guys. Now, interestingly here... The sages here are all quoting, famous Chinese proverbs and works from Chinese sacred texts. Mostly the, okay, excuse me if I horribly mangle the pronunciation of this, but the Mengzi and the De Jing. Now, I probably horribly mangled that pronunciation. I know Japanese, but not Chinese. But anyway, you probably recognize some of those quotes. They're actually quite famous, and you hear them quite a lot. Uh-oh, so, looks like we're gonna have to take on these guys without any experience. This should be interesting. Well, that's a Captain Obvious. Thanks for that. Huh. You know, I really think you should stop hiding this. Oh, now you're going back to Lord N there. Wait a minute. I know that accent, and it brings back horrible, horrible memories. Oh, of all the people who had to come and help me out, it had to be you, didn't it? At least you can put your awful brokenness to use here. But thankfully, yep, the gang is all here. You mess with one of them, you mess with all of them. Except apparently the Straighten triplets, and that's led to a whole lot of crack fan theories, which I'll get into a little bit later. But anyway... Yep, it's time for all the gym leaders to go in. This... classic villain lines. But, yeah, I always love this moment, and the music makes it even more awesome. See, that's why I like Black and White's gym leaders. Probably my favourite set of gym leaders in the series, simply because they actually do stuff in the plot, and you really actually get to know them as characters rather than just random, and Bryson says nothing. He's all like, I'm Riku, do I need to say anything here? I am a little worried considering that you were the most pathetic of all the gym leaders in battle. And you didn't even battle me at all. Of course, you have an identical team to Drayden, and he wasn't that tough either, so... Anyway, you know, I shouldn't really underestimate Iris, given that she... spoiler alert! Yeah, I won't even go into that here. Now, you can actually talk to everyone here to get a few interesting lines. Yeah, well, you do realize you're going up against the gym leaders there. So anyway, I guess I should take this time to mention that the texts that they were quoting from are actually sacred texts in Taoism. Now, this actually makes a lot of sense if you know the inspiration behind this game's legendaries. Yeah, Reshiram and Zekrom basically come from Taoism, so that actually is really interesting. It adds like an extra just element of depth to these legendaries, really. And there's Inzolan. Oh, great, I forgot Bronius. You use your team of Ponytars there. See what good that does you. Anyway, I believe you can also talk to all the gym leaders here. See, I just like to experience all the dialogue of everything. This is all optional, and this is the only chance you get to actually see this. He's still not saying anything. And that there is a perfect summary of the theme of this game. And again, like I've said before, if there is any game that basically hits my philosophy of life right dead on, that really speaks to me like that, it is this game. It actually really does, and I don't want to get into personal things, but anyway. So, Skylar, you, hope you got a flying gem there. And, oh, that quote from Iris brings back bad memories for reasons that are spoilers for an unrelated game that I'm not going to say. Anyway, we are going to go through the halls of the ominous Ends Castle, the final location of this game. And most of this is optional, but you can enter these rooms to speak to a couple of the Team Plasma people. And find out that, yep, seems like... yep, Team Plasma are just a bunch of bastards. Well, at least some of them are. As you'll see here, it is implied that there are some of them who really do truly believe in what N was saying and who really do want the best for Pokemon. Of course, and there are others who are just complete manipulative bastards. And we'll be seeing most of them here. And, yep, here is one of the Shadow Triad. And yes, they're saying, fear not, we still have access to the PC and we can heal. Yeah, as if they let you go into this place without healing. Anyway, if we enter this room here, is this the room that's the really interesting one? Yes, it is. Here we meet two incredibly interesting characters. Interesting is an interesting word here, I'm not even saying. Anyway, basically, this is Athena. She acts as basically a free Pokemon Center, and that's all. She has a very unique design, she appeared during the opening movie, and she talks a little bit about N's backstory. Other than that, she's basically just a free Pokemon Center. This here is Concordia. She gave peace and comfort to N. Now, it's not actually stated here, but basically these two were pretty much N's wet nurses in a way. You'll see later. But basically, they exist to give you a bit of backstory on N, and that's about it. They gave rise to a huge amount of fan theories, whether one of them is N's mother or not, whether a whole lot of things here. But really, in the end, the real twist with these two is there was no twist. They were just unimportant NPCs in the end. All they exist for exposition. They're pretty much just Pokemon's Ishizu Ishtar and nothing more. Here's a very, very interesting fact about these two. In the Japanese version, they didn't even have names. They were simply known as Goddess of Love and Goddess of Peace. Their English names actually do allude to this, but in English they decided to give them proper names that had the mythological connotations of that, rather than actually literally calling them Goddess of Love and Goddess of Peace. Now, the interesting thing here, though, is that in the Japanese anime, they actually did give them proper names. And in fact, the reason they did that was, if they just called them Goddess of Love and Goddess of Peace, it wouldn't match the lip-syncing of the English dub. Yes, the Japanese dub actually specifically took the English version into account and decided, okay, we really need to give these two shorter names just to make it easier for the English dub to get their dub names in. So that's actually really interesting. By the way, in case you're interested, their Japanese anime names are Verbena and Helena. And both of those have similar connotations to their titles. Verbena comes from a flower genus that symbolizes tender love in the language of flowers. Interestingly, something that also comes up in the Ace Attorney series, but that's beside the point. And Helena comes from a species of olive, which is perfectly fitting for someone who represents peace. So, anyway, we find out here that Team Plasma's evil plot is shockingly worse than we could have ever feared. They plan to hack the PC and forcibly release every single Pokemon from there. No! My perfect IV babies I spent all month breeding! That's it. That's it. They're going down. Threaten the relationship between people and Pokemon, you can threaten the world, but the moment you threaten my perfectly bred babies, I show no mercy. Team Plasma is going down now. And for that reason, I am making sure that I have my team in order. This PC here is your last chance to get a team ready for the final battle, and I think I need Terrakion for this. Now, I definitely need Excadrill for this, but anyway. Now, as we're at this PC, I can say a few things. Firstly, now, slight spoilers, but if you're playing this game, you probably need to know this. As you can probably guess, there is a legendary coming up. Now, you do not need to free up a space in your party. You don't need to do that. The game will take care of it itself, you'll see. However, if you want to synchronize for a good nature on a competitive Reshiram or Zekrom, now is your last chance to withdraw a synchronizer from a PC. So if you're planning on doing that, again, now is your last chance. If you're thinking you're not prepared in terms of items, well, you actually do have a chance to go out of the castle and get back to the Pokemon League. We'll actually see that later. But basically, yes, if you need to buy more items, don't worry, you still have that chance. In fact, I believe you actually have free reign of the entire region. You can go back and catch some more Pokemon if you want. You can just play around all you want while the fate of the world is at stake. Like all RPGs, you know. I forgot which number it was on the grand list of console RPG cliches, but it's something along the lines of, the best time to do side quests is always when the giant meteor is hovering above the world, ready to crash and destroy it. That, seriously, that's always the law with RPGs, really. Anyway, just sorting out a few items here. So, anyway, as I was saying, you don't need to free a space in your party for the Legendary, but again, if you want to synchronize for nature, now is your last chance to withdraw a synchronizer. If you're going to do that, you really probably want to get rid of the synchronizer after battle. You'll see. It'll all make sense later. But anyway, that is basically all I had to say, so this is pretty much just preparations for the final battle. How nice of them to put a PC here. Of course, how not nice of them to threaten the PCs of everyone. Seriously, this is for everyone who IV breeds. All their work will go to waste if Team Plasma succeeds, and I am not going to let that happen. So, we have Virizion here carrying the big root to increase healing with Giga Drain. Still can't believe I got that Adamant Nature. So awesome. Anyway. And if Pass Me would move on with the stat screens. Come on, Pass Me. You know you want to. Yeah, we have, and we're not looking anyway. Yes, we have Excadrill, who is going to be very, very, very important here. Very, very important. You will see once we actually get to the battles, but seriously. This Excadrill is absolutely vital to my strategy going into the final battles. You really need to have a strategy if you're doing the challenge like this, because these last few battles, trust me, they are very, very, very difficult. Very difficult in this challenge, especially. I mean, they're no slouch in a regular playthrough, but here, oh boy. Yeah, I was not joking when I was saying before that the final battles are harder than the rest of the game combined. And yep. Anyway, I have to put Excadrill at the front of the party. Now, if you know the Legendary from my version, you might be thinking, why would you do that? That's just stupid. Well, it may not be a good matchup against that Legendary, but believe me, the next few battles, I need... And, this guy's hidden behind the statue. Anyway. Oh, This guy always makes me kind of tear up, seriously. But things get a bit happier in the sequel for him, trust me. Anyway, there's always that one evil minion who you feel sorry for. Anyway, what's in here? And, of course, we have the opposite of that other person. But apparently the Patrat does seem to like to appreciate that. Kind of reminds me of something in Ace Attorney 5, which I will not say for fear of spoilers. Now, this is interesting here. If you talk to this Team Plasma person, you'll receive an Ultra Ball. And yeah, they're all like blah blah, Pokeball's evil. It's kind of hilarious though, because the trading card game has a trainer card called Team Plasma Ball, which I think is hilarious because... Because isn't Team Plasma supposed to be against Pokeballs? Anyway, this guy will take you back to the Pokemon League. There, you can do your shopping if you don't have enough healing items. You can sort out everything. You can even catch some new Pokemon if you want. Again, like I was saying. Now, the guy who gave you an Ultra Ball, that guy right there, Shadow Triad. Anyway, if you have no Pokeballs in your bag whatsoever, that guy will give you an Ultra Ball every time you talk to him. Now, the reason why he does this is because it's to stop the game from becoming unwinnable. You will see why in a moment. Trust me, everything is all going to make sense soon. Coming up is one of the most infamous parts of this game. And there is nothing much I can really say about it. It is equal parts tearjerker and nightmare fuel, and I'm probably going to let it just speak for itself. There is one thing concrete to find in there, but you really go into this room for the experience. By the way, that's the last we'll ever see of the Shadow... Well, at least I think that's the last we'll ever see of the Shadow Triad in this game. Basically, yeah, the rare candy was the main reason to go into that room, but there is a lot of things you can examine, so you really should try and do that. Now, I guess I should take this time to talk about the Shadow Triad, at least very, very briefly. The Shadow Triad well, anyway. Also, this guy is interesting. He's talking about how Team Galactic and Team Rocket drew too much attention to themselves. Says the team who made a giant, ominous, evil castle rise up out of the ground. Yeah, and whose leader proudly flaunts having a legendary. Yeah, totally, you're not drawing too much attention to themselves. Once again, Team Plasma are being Team Hypocrite. That's basically their thing, so I guess we should accept it by now. Anyway though, the Shadow Triad. They were the source of many mysteries, particularly the fact that the Straighten triplets did not appear here, but the Shadow Triad did. There's also the fact that in both Japanese and English, the name of the Straighten triplets badge sounds similar to the Shadow Triad. The Tri-badge, Shadow Triad, the Trio badge, Shadow Triad, and in Japanese, the Trinity badge, and they're called the Dark Trinity in Japanese. So you'd think, oh, clearly the Straighten triplets must be the Shadow Triad, obviously, it's so obvious. See, I never really liked that theory, it just, I'm not one for assuming certain characters are evil for no reason, unless they're Clement, so there I go being a hypocrite. But anyway, we're approaching the end, but I just want to say, I honestly cannot believe that the fans honestly got angry when those theories weren't proven true, because seriously, the Straighten triplets had no reason whatsoever to be evil. It didn't even make sense. It makes absolutely no sense at all. It's just a kind of a thing for me. It really emphasizes one of the things that I tend to hate about fandoms, that the fans just don't seem to realize that they don't own the franchise. They don't control where the plot goes. The writers control where the plot goes. The writers know best, not the fans. And honestly, I want to stop there, because we're about to head into the final battle. So I don't want to end this video off on a negative note. But anyway, just wanted to get that out there. About the Shadow Triad, I thought I'd just mention one more thing. When I first played, I thought they were girls, and I kept thinking they were girls until I saw the anime trailer for Black and White 2, in which they were completely, unambiguously male. But, they're never, you don't really hear much of them, they're never really given names, you only see them from their map sprites, which look really ambiguous. Can you honestly blame me? Like, really, and I think they're actually supposed to be completely gender ambiguous in this game. It's only in the sequel that it, makes more sense for them to be more defined. But anyway, what the Shadow Triad really were in the end was one giant sequel hook, and I can't believe the fans didn't realize that. I mean, I'm all for random speculation, but when you get angry when your crack theories are proven wrong, It just kind of bugs me. But anyway, I'll just avoid saying about that. Next time, the final battle begins.